welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk all things about the Toronto Maple Leafs from across the pond in Scotland. Today's video is another weekly analysis video where I break down the previous week's Leafs games and summarise my thoughts. And I usually upload these on Sundays or Mondays, and so I'm aware it's a couple days late and you might be thinking, why are you uploading this halfway through the next week? But that's because I tried to film this on Monday and it kind of went a little bit like this. Doesn't happen very often, but occasionally I just absolutely hate a video that I've filmed. And I just don't really like putting things on my channel that I'm not 100% happy with. Like, there's just so much about this video I don't like. I should have had this video out yesterday, and so I really wanted to get it out tonight. But I hate it so much. My perfectionist tendencies are just taking over, but I'd rather put out high quality content that's a little late than just rush something to get it up. And then I hate it being there on my channel for the rest of existence, so hope you guys don't mind. I just didn't like the video at all. No matter how much I tried to edit it, I just didn't like it. And I really am not happy putting out videos on my channel that I'm not fully content with. So I hope you guys don't mind that this one is a couple of days late. And of course the Leafs did play the Bruins last night and they shut them out 4-0. So everything I'm talking about will be relevant as of Monday of this week, because I'm only talking about the previous week to this one. So it's not ideal. I hope you'll excuse it. But I wasn't going to put out a subpar video on my channel that I did not like. So anyway, let's talk about week 4 of the NHL season for the Leafs. Just quickly before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. My battery is going to die. Are you joking me? I am having no luck filming this video, I swear to God. And so my camera died. I am starting to think that the universe does not want me to put out this video, but let's try again. So let's dive into week 4 of the Leafs NHL season, starting off not with the games per se, but the fact that we had both a signing and a trade in this week. So it was announced on Monday morning before any games could start that Jake McCabe had agreed to a 5-year contract extension with a $4.5 million cap hit. Overall, I think it's a great deal. Jake McCabe has become a key component of the Leafs defensive group. He's very adaptive because he can play on the left and on the right. He's also a first unit penalty killer and I like the impact that he's had on this team, and so I'm really glad to see him stay. It does mean that currently now the Leafs are vaguely committed to a top 4 group of Jake McCabe, Chris Tanev, Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Morgan Rielly, and so unless one of those pieces is moved in the near future for the next few seasons, this is our top 4. One thing that they all have in common is that they are all a little bit older. They're sort of all in their 30s-ish. And that's definitely a more veteran group to have, and of course that could be a risk in the long run because with age comes more likelihood to get more injuries. However, also with age comes more experience, and that is something that Jake McCabe definitely brings to this team. He brings great leadership and great experience, and I'm really happy to see him stay. I think it's a fair cap hit and I'm excited about it. As I say, we also had a trade. Timothy Liljegren was traded to San Jose for a 2025 third round pick, a 2026 sixth round pick, as well as defenseman Matt Benning. Liljegren just never really fitted into the image that Craig Berube has created for this team. He fell out of favour with the new coach quite quickly from training camp, it seemed, and he's only played 1 game under Craig Berube, so it's clear that the two weren't a fit. I believe that Berube didn't like the way that Liljegren was a little slow in decision making and he didn't play a heavy enough game. Of course, Liljegren had signed with the Leafs on a 2-year contract this summer with a $3 million cap hit, and I do feel like the fact he's been a healthy scratch quite consistently now did decrease his value, and the Leafs might not have got quite as much back for them if they could have if he had been traded at a different time. However, I do think this is the best for both parties involved. It clears up some much needed cap space that the Leafs need, and Liljegren can also go and play for San Jose, where he's actually likely to get a game, which just wasn't going to happen on the Leafs, especially with the news that Jani Hakanpää is likely to come off injury reserve soon, and he would definitely be played over Liljegren too, and so it was just getting less and less likely that he would actually get a game. So he can go and actually play in San Jose, and the Leafs needed that cap space freed up, so this was the best for both parties in my opinion. And now on to some actual games. I will make this video really quick, and I will also include timestamps down below so that you can just skip between, because these games were last week. This video was late and we've already started this week's games, so I'm going to try and churn through these pretty quickly, but I like doing these. I think they're really fun. I'm just really enjoying making these, so I couldn't miss this week. And so the first game I'm going to talk about, which was over a week ago now, again, I'm really sorry guys, but the Leafs took on the Winnipeg Jets last Monday. At the time, the Winnipeg Jets were the only unbeaten team in the NHL, and the Leafs won 6-4. Logic would be that a team which had struggled so much the previous week were unlikely to do well against an unbeaten team. However, I know the Leafs, you all know the Leafs, and that's not the way that they operate, and I just had a sneaking suspicion that they were going to perform really well in this game, and they did. They outshot the Jets in the first period 18-7. They had a fast and physical first 20 minutes, and both Nylander and Tavares put the Leafs up on the scoreboard, making it 2-0 heading into the second. Another 2 goals from Matthew Nyes and Morgan Riley increased their lead to 4-0. However, the special teams did let them down a bit. The Jets responded with 2 power play goals from Kyle Connor, highlighting the fact that sometimes the penalty kill is not perfect either. We all know the issues with the power play lately. Special teams have been a problem. I've said it so many times already, I don't need to keep repeating myself. John Tavares managed to push the Leafs to a 5-2 lead, which was really good going into the final frame. However, there were definitely some discipline issues in the final period. A delayed hooking call on Nylander gave the Jets the space to get another goal in, and then a tripping call on Benoit made the Leafs short-handed once again, allowing the Jets to make it 5-4. It was a 1-goal game, and that's where you get nervous. However, once again, John Tavares was not slow to respond, and he sealed the deal with an empty netter, giving the Leafs a 6-4 win and handing the Winnipeg Jets their first loss of the season. Of course, the standout is John Tavares. He got a hat-trick, and I'm a big fan of John Tavares. I will defend that man until I die. I absolutely love him, and I can't stand this narrative which is being created that he doesn't provide value to the team just because he's getting older. Granted, he definitely is slower than he used to be. He's not as fast a skater anymore, but he has got older, and while I understand that his contract is obviously far too high for what he produces, he will soon be coming off of that contract at the end of this season, and I just really hope that he will stay in Toronto for much less. That is all I hope. I absolutely love John Tavares, and he was standout in this game, and he really proved once again that he definitely still has a place on this team. On Thursday night, the Leafs took on Seattle at home in their Halloween matchup, and they won that one 4-1. Now in my household, I am obviously a big Toronto sports fan, and if you didn't know, my mum is a massive Seattle fan. She loves the Kraken, she loves the Mariners, and we had pumpkins outside the house. Some were decorated in sort of Leaf stuff and others were decorated in Kraken stuff, and it was just the most perfect Halloween matchup for my household. But of course, I was the one who got the victory. 4-1, the Leafs played a great game. With a nice goal, 2 from Nylander, and an empty netter for Austin Matthews, the Kraken were only able to get on the score sheet in the third period with a goal from Tolvanen. Despite being outshot in this game, I didn't feel like the Leafs were ever really at risk of losing. They really had outstanding skill in this game, and I feel like they looked really good. There's not too much to really pick at. Joseph Woll looked absolutely amazing in net. The penalty kill was really decent in this game, which is great reassurance for the special teams. And that second line of Pacioretty, Tavares and Nylander was absolutely outstanding for me in this game. I thought that they looked the best by far on the roster. So overall, it was a great first half to the week for the Leafs, but unfortunately, this was as good as it would get. 2 wins to start off the week, and it was sort of all downhill from here. The Leafs started a back-to-back road trip with a game against St. Louis on Saturday night, which they lost 4-2. This was the first team that the Leafs have played twice in this season, and also the first team that they have lost twice to. They started off so strongly. They had a great first period, and a goal from Mitch Marner made me think that they were perhaps going to do better in this game than the last time they played them, where of course they got blown out 5-1. However, that first period effort soon felt a little bit wasted because the Blues got 3 goals in the second period and the Leafs were not looking too great. A third period goal from Steven Lorentz did make it 3-2, but an empty netter from Pavel Buchnevich really sealed the deal for St. Louis, giving them a 4-2 win. And even though it was a loss, the Leafs team looked far better than the first time they had played them, and they definitely looked far stronger, but at the end of the day, no matter the performance, a loss is a loss, and this was certainly a loss for the Leafs. Then it was on to the final game of the week, a rare Sunday night game for the Leafs, which I don't love them playing on Sundays, but that's mainly because I then start off my week tired, which is not great. Don't love the Sunday night games. As I say, back-to-back road trip for the Leafs. They went from St. Louis on Saturday night to Minnesota on Sunday night, and so the Leafs were technically playing like 2 games within 24 hours on the road, and it really showed. They looked so tired in this game. It was a busy schedule week. 4 games is quite a lot, especially with a back-to-back road trip. One good thing to take from this game though was that their special teams were actually really good. Minnesota did get on the board first, but a Nylander goal on the power play combined with a really effective penalty kill from the Leafs managed to push it to OT, giving them a point. They couldn't hold on in overtime however and didn't really have much to offer, and Matt Boldy sealed it for the Minnesota Wild, giving them a 2-1 OT win and an overtime loss to the Leafs. However, given how tired and exhausted the team looked on the ice in this game, I was actually happy to take a point from it, and I thought that it was a real credit to them that they were able to push it to overtime, because I'm just really glad they managed to get something from that game, to be honest. So overall for week 4, the Leafs had 2 wins and 2 losses, 1 in regulation, 1 in OT. At the end of that week, they were 3rd in the division and 12th in the league overall. These will likely have changed now because I'm filming this very late, but these are just the stats at the end of that week. Their special teams still remain an issue, and at one point before that Minnesota game, the Leafs had the worst power play in the whole league. They were dead last in this stat in the entire league with just 8.3%, which is terrible given the elite talent that they have available for their power play. Of course, it is still early in the season and they are still figuring it out, and I know people were starting to question Marc Savard as their power play coach. However, these power play issues have been ingrained in this team since way before he started being the power play coach. This was an issue last season, it was an issue in the postseason, and it does continue to be so. Even though, as we know now, the game last night against Boston, the Leafs actually scored 3 power play goals, and so I feel like a bit of a fraud saying that, but I'm only talking about week 4, okay, not week 5. This week is a big Atlantic Division rivalry week for the Leafs. They played Boston last night, but we're not talking about that until next week, and they still have to play both Detroit and Montreal. The Leafs are the highest in the division out of all these teams. It's always great to see them playing division rivals, I find, because it's obviously a better glimpse at what we're likely to see eventually when the postseason comes. Not that we're going to talk about the postseason in November, that's way too early. It's sure to be an exciting Atlantic Division rivalry week, and so hopefully the Leafs can take as many wins as possible from this week of games. So those are all my thoughts about the Leafs' 4th week of the NHL season. Drop a comment down below, what have you thought of the Leafs lately? Just leave me a comment down below, anything to do with hockey or whatever. I love hearing your guys' thoughts. Once again, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also like this video for more content like this, and also follow me on my social medias. I'll pop them up somewhere on the screen. I don't know where I'm going to put the pop-up yet. Somewhere on the screen right now. I'll pop up my other social medias. Make sure to follow me on there too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with more Leafs chats from across the pond. Bye guys.
Yeah, my head spinning, hearts racing, knowing that you could give me a call. I lay awake at night because all I seem to think about is you. Fuck, I don't know what to do. Do I want this too much? I know I have burned you once before.